Steelers-Lions. I didn't watch all of the Steelers-Lions game. I caught the most of it. Excuse me. I kind of had it on in the background. And of course, we're going to address it. The two controversial calls that were the big factor of the game, if you ask me. Well, before that, I watched the highlights all the way. I watched the highlights this morning, and people were complaining, and they're complaining about the whole pass interference call, the OPI with Ramsey at the end there. But even before that, when Amon-Ra caught the touchdown and it was the pick play, go back a little bit before that game and on fourth down when the Lions got the pass interference call on the Steelers. So people are like, well, I can't believe the refs called that. Okay, if the refs don't call that, if the refs don't call the interference on the 4th and 2 with the Steelers, that game's over. So there is none of what just happened at the end of the game there with Tisla and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Well, let's talk about these two plays. Well, that is 100% a pick play on Tisla. He literally ran into the guy. It looked like he was attempting to run his route, tried to run his route, and then boom, goes into the guy. Okay, so negate that play right there. Then your second one there at the end of the game there, when all the flags are flying and Amon-Ra egregiously pushes into Jalen Ramsey, knocks him off his block basically, and fans are sitting here telling me that's not pass interference. Offensive pass interference. Yes, it is. Just because you don't like the outcome of the call doesn't mean it's not pass interference. The Kayshon Boutte play in the Patriots game, which we'll get into, was 100% pass interference, and they missed that. Just because you don't like a call doesn't mean that it shouldn't be called. I know people are going to sit here and say, you're crazy. I can't believe that they called that interference, or that was offensive pass interference, or that was a pick play. It's like that ruined the outcome of the game. The refs have their fingerprints on the game. Those calls are both blatantly, just because you don't like the outcome of it doesn't make them not calls. And people will sit here and say the refs had to do this, the refs had to do that. They could have easily let them play on. Well, if you let them play on, the pass interference on 4th and 2 before those two plays there, when Jared Goff threw the ball over the middle, Jameson Williams, and the Steelers defender is basically on his back, and they don't call that, and they let it go in the Steelers' favor, you don't get those opportunities with Amon-Ra St. Brown for the touchdown and the offensive pass interference. So I don't want to sit here, and I don't want people to sit here and keep complaining about those two calls. The Lions got robbed by the refs. No, they didn't. They had plenty of other opportunities in the game to win that football game. Those two calls were the right calls. Move on. Sulk in your crow. Cry about it. That's all I have to say, because those were 100% the correct calls. And you know what? Dan Campbell even said, here, this is exactly what Dan Campbell said. There's actually one other thing we have to get into about the Steelers game, and I think you guys know exactly where I'm going. Dan Campbell owns the Lions' heartbreak loss. Put themselves in a situation that didn't make enough plays earlier in the game. Exactly. 100%. Don't sit here and blame the refs. He refused to blame the refs, saying we weren't able to close it out. That's on us. 2 costly penalties, a stunning finish, and the Lions are in a very tough situation. He owned it. So I don't want people to sit here and say, those were pass interference. I can't believe they called those. That's crazy. Yeah, exactly. We weren't able to close it out at the end of the day. That's on us. However, though, there's one more thing that I want to talk about from this ridiculous game. Good for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin's 19 consecutive winning season. It's absolutely crazy. And I've been giving the Steelers shit all year long because I hate the Steelers, but man, you got to give them credit. Hey, man, they battled. However, though, DK Metcalf. Yes, we're going to talk about DK Metcalf's altercation on the field. And this is on the field. This doesn't have anything to do with off the field. This is judging DK Metcalf on the field. Well, he was on the sideline. So DK Metcalf and this fan get into it. I don't know the history behind this fan. I guess that this fan and DK Metcalf have history. There's something about it from his Seattle days or whoever. DK Metcalf, you're an NFL football player and you can't control yourself, and now you're suspended for the final 2 games of the season, and people are going to say, no, Joey, that's his manhood. He can do whatever he wants. You're going to call me this. You're going to call me that. You're a multi-million-dollar athlete, and you have to retaliate, or you can't think smartly, think smarter and harder. These fans heckle these guys, and people are going to sit here and tell me, well, they're fans as well, they're human beings, they're just people as well, and if you're going to disrespect my manhood, no, you know exactly what these guys do when these go to these games. They're chirping in your ear whatever they say. If you can't control yourself, you shouldn't be on the field. And good for the NFL for suspending him for 2 games, and he tried to appeal it, and I hope they uphold the suspension. I hope it's upheld because that's embarrassing. You're an NFL athlete and you can't hold yourself to a higher standard than some clown in the stands. Oh, but Joey, that's his manhood that they're calling him this, they're calling him that. Okay, they probably did. The guy probably did. The guy's probably a loser. But you know what? You should be better than that. You should know better than that. It drives me crazy when these athletes, like, you have you're privileged to play in the NFL on Sundays and make all this kind of money. People don't get those opportunities in lifetime, and you go and do that. And good for the NFL for suspending him for 2 games. People are, of course, going to have their different opinions about this. Good for him. He stood his ground. Yeah. No, it's absolutely ridiculous. You should know better than that. The incident happened in the second quarter with the game tied, and while the fan's exact comments remain disputed, the fan denying any racial slurs were used. The league clearly felt Metcalf's physical reaction crossed the line in terms of conduct. Yeah. It's funny. And it's funny. In a real job, you do that, you get fired. You do that in real life on the street, you're going to jail for that. So DK Metcalf's very lucky that the NFL is only suspending him for 2 games, and there's no legal action that's being involved. Because any other situation, just like other instances in the NFL that have happened in the past, you're getting in a lot more trouble than just a 2-game suspension from the NFL. Very lucky. Very, very lucky. I can't wait to hear what people have to say about DK Metcalf's suspension. And, oh, he shouldn't have got suspended. He was defending himself. Calling somebody a name or doing that grants you to go swing at somebody or attempt to swing or however you want to call it. Like, I mean, you see the video? Like, go back and watch it. It's embarrassing. I don't feel bad for DK Metcalf at all. Not one bit. Good for Mike Tomlin for tying Belichick's non-losing seasons record, 19th consecutive non-losing season. I mean, he's been there for 19 seasons, which is crazy. He's never had a losing season. I know earlier on the podcast a couple months ago, I was like, oh, the Steelers have finished 8-9 or 9-8. Well, they still could finish 9-8. They could still lose these games. So they'll probably finish 10-7. Maybe they finish 11-6.